Welcome back, America. There's definitely a new sheriff in town when it comes to the five-sided building here in Washington, D.C. It even has a new title, War Secretary, not Defense Secretary. The Pete Hegseth's reign over the Pentagon has had profound change already. The military, they're back to war fighting, they're back to fixing procurement, and they're back to making sure our enemies across the world know we mean business. Joining us now to explain all of that and all of the successes is the Department of War's Press Secretary, Kingsley Wilson. Kingsley, great to have you back on the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
All right. I have a fun story this morning because I've been watching the Democrats the last few weeks saying there's no such term as narco-terrorism. And of course, this morning, we had a story pointing out they used to use the term all the time when Barack Obama was president. Why all of a sudden are Democrats afraid to call narco-terrorists what they are?
It's absolutely ridiculous. I think what we've seen from Democrats, unfortunately, is a lot of TDS, right? We saw this with Operation Midnight Hammer. It was a resounding success, yet we saw Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media come out and say, oh, you actually might not have obliterated those nuclear facilities. We absolutely did. The Iranians even admitted so. All of our intelligence indicated so. It was a success. Now we're seeing that same repeat playbook here with the strike against these narco-terrorists. They have, from the beginning, questioned the intelligence, questioned if we really know who these people are. They might just be poor fishermen. John, you and I both know that fishermen don't have semi-submersible submarines. That's absolutely ridiculous.
That's right.
These people are trafficking deadly drugs to the United States of America that poison and kill our people. And as the president has said time and time again, every single boat that we take out saves 25,000 American lives. That is fantastic. This department has spent a lot of decades putting other homelands first. Now we're defending our own border. We've got 10,000 troops at the U.S. southern border right now, and we're defending our homeland from these threats, from these narco-terrorists that are raining terror across our hemisphere. So the War Department is very proud to be a part of this effort, and the strikes will continue despite the Democrats' criticisms and just total lack of facts on these strikes that we've had over the past few months here at the Pentagon.
You've had a lot of instances where news reports had a lack of facts, such as in the Washington Post a week ago when they suggested that the war secretary had made a comment to kill all these people that were floating on a boat. That wasn't turned out to be true, according to the admiral who then followed him. How frustrating is it to have to constantly knock down false reporting in places where it used to be the job to get the facts right?
It's incredibly frustrating, but, I think that people who work in a Trump administration are unfortunately very used to it. We have seen the mainstream media lie time and time again about this president's accomplishments, and this administration is no different. So we will continue to battle the fake news and to push back. And that Washington Post story that you mentioned was particularly egregious. They attributed a quote to the Secretary of War that he never said. That is absolutely scummy journalism, and anyone who reads the Washington Post should rethink where they're getting their news. Thankfully, I think a lot of their readers have gone elsewhere because they've realized they can't trust outlets like the Washington Post anymore. Those outlets used to report the facts maybe way back in the day, but today they're just biased actors that are looking to take down certain political viewpoints. They've got an agenda, and I think the American people can largely see through that thanks to independent media like your show and like others who have begun to gain massive momentum with viewers.
Yeah, it's funny. Facts are a stubborn thing. If you stick to them, you usually benefit. It's a remarkable thing. I want to turn to Venezuela a little bit more. Obviously, the president, since Thanksgiving, has indicated there could be some military action to make sure that just like we stopped Venezuelan drug boats from coming in, that drug mules coming by land also are stopped. Is there any insights as to what that might look like and when it might commence?
So our mission remains ongoing to take out these narco-terror boats all across the region. If you are a narco-terrorist, no matter what country you're from, if Venezuela or another country, and you wish to poison the American people, we will hunt you and we will kill you. President Trump designated these groups designated terrorist organizations, and that allows us at the Department of War to really take this threat a lot more seriously than previous admins have taken it. President Biden, for example, welcomed narco-terrorists into our country through the southern border, a totally porous southern border. When they got here, he gave them free phones, free healthcare. We had no idea who was coming into our border for 4 years. Now, under President Trump, the border is sealed, and we're beginning to take these threats incredibly seriously. And what we do at the Department of War is we plan, right? We have a contingency for everything. We provide the president options. So a lot of the asset buildup you're seeing down there in the Southcom region, in the Caribbean, now we've got the Forward Carrier Strike Group down there, is to do just that, to provide the president options so that if the commander-in-chief directs the Department of War to take action, we are ready. Our warriors are standing by, and I will tell you, no one will be waiting on the Department of War should the time come for us to act.
There was, I think, one of the most profound statements that a defense or war secretary has given in my lifetime the other day from Secretary Hegseth, saying we're not going to be distracted by nation building. We're not in the business of interventionism, undefined wars, regime change, climate change, wokeness, or feckless nation building, making clear that the interest that we have in Venezuela or anywhere else in the world is really an American first agenda. How important is that for the troops, for the people who work in the Pentagon, for the contractors to know that their Secretary of War understands exactly what the mission is?
It's so important, and we've seen a total shift and reprioritization of the threats that we face. Like you mentioned in the Secretary's quote, he talks a lot about how the previous administration was focused on injecting ideology into our armed forces that had no business being there. They were focused on the things you said, climate change, transgenderism, COVID vaccines, just ridiculous stuff that distracts from our mission. Our mission at the end of the day is to keep America safe, and we've unfortunately lost that focus under previous administrations, both Republican and Democrat, frankly. But thanks to President Trump, we have a reinvigorated America First perspective and framework that we are going to apply to every single threat that we face. This is a president and a Secretary of War who always ask, does this serve the American people? And how can our warfighters better put America first? So I think the American people can be very confident in this Secretary and this president's administration in terms of making sure our warriors, number one, are able to do their jobs unencumbered, but number two, are always putting America first and always keeping that interest top of mind.
There's been a lot of discussion in social media and political circles, policy circles, about the reassertion of the Monroe Doctrine, taking care of business in our own hemisphere, which during the last administration, we turned a blind eye to China's infiltration all across Latin America, Central America. What sort of Central America and Latin America did the Trump administration inherit? How quickly is it changing with our America First agenda?
So much like the United States of America, we inherited a total mess when it comes to the Caribbean, when it comes to South America. There were narco-terrorists that were just running terror and wreaking havoc all across the hemisphere. They were totally in charge of what went on, and they were bringing, as I mentioned, those deadly drugs to the United States of America under Joe Biden. That was totally unacceptable. They were actively harming and poisoning our people. The number one killer of young people in the United States today is drug overdoses, and that was a direct result of all of the deadly drugs that were flowing into our open borders. So President Trump and Secretary Hegseth have said no more. We've seen a total mind shift, and I think it's been really important for our warriors that are down in this area, down in Central America and South America, deployed there. Previously, they'd been working on a lot of stuff like climate change. That's kind of what Southcom was known for. Now, Southcom is actively engaging with these narco-terrorists, taking out 87 narco-terrorists to date and making sure that the American people are kept safe. And at the end of the day, that's what our warriors signed up to do, and that's what President Trump wants them to be able to do unencumbered. So we're very encouraged by our success thus far, and it will only continue.
Remarkable number, 87 narco-terrorists gone from the face of the earth. Pretty impressive. Real quickly before we go, you can often tell what Congress thinks about a war secretary, defense secretary's work. When the appropriations process comes today, the House has released a budget that actually gives more money than even the Trump administration recommended. Probably a sign of confidence in what you guys are doing today.
Absolutely, and we maintain great relationships with everybody on the Hill. We're frequently in contact with our HASC and SASC members, making sure that everybody is up to date on all the great work that we're doing here. And as President Trump said, this is a huge, historic $1 trillion budget that the Department of War was given through the One Big Beautiful Bill. We want to make sure that we're able to fund all of these critical priorities. Golden Dome comes to mind. That's going to be a huge, huge effort that this department is undertaking. So we're grateful to our allies on the Hill who are making sure we have everything we need to give our warfighters all of the weapons that they need and to make sure that the American people are kept safe.
Drone warfare, you guys are changing the way wars are fought without even us seeing it, but that's a big priority for the War Secretary, correct?
Absolutely. Yeah, acquisitions is going to be a huge focus for us. You know, John, DC is just mired in red tape and bureaucracy, and nowhere more than with acquisitions. We are making sure that all of that is cut through, that we're going to have fast weapons processes so we can get our warfighters exactly what they need in record time. And we don't want any more of this kind of backdoor deals with defense companies that get contracts because they've always gotten the contract. We want competition. We know that a capitalist model is going to ensure that our warfighters have the absolute best technology, and we're committed to that going forward.
It's important stuff. Literally, the Pentagon has changed so significantly in just a few short months. It's a really remarkable story. Now with the new press corps, it's getting chronicled for the first time. Kingsley Wilson, what a great honor to have you on the show today. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. Great to be with you.
Yeah, you as well. Always appreciate when you come on. Wow, what a great conversation. All right, folks, up next, researchers indicate Americans are leaving blue states in droves. I think you know the reason why, but we're going to examine those a little bit more in detail right after these messages.
Tell me the truth. How many different beauty potions do you have sitting on your bathroom counter right now? If it's more than just Vibrant Super C Serum, listen up. The ingredients in this one bottle can replace your day creams, your eye creams, your night creams, your neck creams, your wrinkle creams, and your dark spot reducers. It's made in the USA with the highest quality ingredients, including vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, vitamin B5, and vitamin E. Super C Serum delivers noticeable results. Simplify your skincare routine, get a healthier complexion, and minimize wrinkles and age spots with Vibrance. And if you don't find it better than your current skincare routine, you'll get a full refund. So go to Vibrance.com/justnews to save up to 37% off and free shipping. That is Vibrance, Vibrance, Vibrance.com/justnews.